All right, so next we're going to talk about validity. So while we talked about reliability as something like consistency, validity is more like accuracy. So is my measurement measuring what it's supposed to be doing? Is it accurate? Is it actually measuring what it's supposed to? And so just like reliability, there's different types of validity. So we have subjective versions, so face validity and content validity are when you are looking at your measurement subjectively to see if it's measuring what it's supposed to be measuring. And then you have criterion validity, and then convergent and discriminant validity are more empirical. So you can actually run like correlations to get a value for your criterion, convergent, and discriminant validity. So back to our larger image here, we again, part of validity, we have subjective and empirical versions of validity. For subjective, we have face validity. Does it look like it's measuring what it's supposed to measure? Content validity is looking at make sure that all of the parts are there. So if I'm going to measure a construct, that construct can be thought of in many different angles. Does my measurement cover all of those angles? And then for empirical, we have criterion validity. So making sure that it is correlating with what it's supposed to correlate with. So like externally, make sure that my measurement is the values that I get from my measurement are correlating with things that it should be correlated with, that my construct should be correlated with. And then convergent and discriminant validity are looking at, is it similar to constructs that it should be similar to, and is it different from constructs that it should be different from? And again, I'll cover each of these in more detail in just a moment. Okay, so starting with face and content validity. Face validity really is just taking it at face value. So looking at your measurement and subjectively deciding, is this a good measure? Okay, and this is usually done by someone who's an expert in the field who can look it over and decide whether or not it looks like it's a good measure. Content validity is a little bit more empirical in a way that you want to make sure that your measurement is encompassing all aspects of the construct that you want to measure. So if the construct is risk-taking, that's what I want to measure, then I need to both look at the attitude of the participants and the behavior of the participants. That is, do they enjoy taking risks, but also would they actually go out and take risks? So if I like the idea of going skydiving, that's one thing, but would I actually go out and go skydiving if I had the opportunity? That's the behavior aspect. And so you need to measure both of those if we want to get at the construct of risk-taking. Okay, so for example, for another example, if I wanted to measure prejudice and the only thing that I included was race, sure, there's prejudice in race, but really what that construct would be measuring is prejudice as far as race goes, right? Not prejudice as a construct, all-encompassing construct. So if I wanted to get prejudice as an entire idea, then I also need to include things like, gender, religion, other things that have prejudice associated with them. Prejudice associated with them. Okay, and again, these are all subjective, so just kind of looking at your data there. Okay, and then we'll talk about empirical versions of validity in just a moment.